Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to St. Petersburg, Florida, for a live edition of NXT. As we itch closer and closer to NXT Heatwave, we got the Don of NXT, who recently came back to NXT recently, and he had a lot of big words for this NXT roster. And basically, his big thing is a lot of these NXT originals are no longer here. You're seeing a lot of superstars, more of free agents and everything, not the NXT originals. And Tony doesn't like that. He wants to see NXT go through those growing pains, grow through the NXT, and not depend on the free agency market. But Don has also called out any superstar to come out here. He said he doesn't matter who or anyone to make a name for himself, and he plans on showing anyone, anytime, anywhere here. Wait a minute. Chris Jericho? What the hell? Chris Jericho just clotheslining the Don right over the top rope, and he's coming right after Tony D'Angelo. Well, this is totally not expected, ladies and gentlemen. A full out collision going out here, outside here. Chris Jericho beating the living hell out of Tony D'Angelo here. And again, just those brutal strikes here from the Fozzy. And look at Jericho just flexing on everybody here tonight. And again, just taking him out. It does not matter. We need to get some referees to break this up right now. This is absolutely just terrible. Oh no. Wait a minute. Jericho with a steel chair shot to the ribs. Jericho coming out here. Tony D'Angelo was actually the one that mentioned Chris Jericho was one of the superstars that signed here to NXT with himself and CM Punk. So it seems like Jericho took that very, very personally. He ain't backing down. Oh my God, this is just absolutely horrendous. And then the back spinning elbow, laying waste to Tony D'Angelo. This is what you hate to see, ladies and gentlemen. Don just wanted things to go back to what it was. It's simple as that. But apparently, Chris Jericho does not want it to be that way. And again, and Jericho busting Tony D'Angelo wide open. And this is just an onslaught attack, an unexpected onslaught attack to open NXT. Well, we were scheduled to hear from Tony D'Angelo, Chris Jericho coming out here and assaulting him, leaving Tony D'Angelo in his pool of his own blood. We'll let you know how Tony's doing when we get a medical update. But now we're going to have Dragon Lee, one of the newest signings here in NXT. He's looking to get a big win tonight as he's taking on the NXT United Kingdom champion, that being Rusev. There on Monday Night Raw, the WWE United Kingdom Championship got debuted. It will look very similar to Rusev's championship, but it is very, very different. But Dragon Lee would lose to Christian in an open challenge, but we'll see how Dragon Lee fares against the United Kingdom World Champion. Ever since cashing in on Braun Breaker, who was the United Kingdom Champion, Rusev has looked really good. And he's continued to be pretty good. And Christian and Rusev had just continued to dominate this landscape. Christian became the North American champion by winning against Jon Moxley. And for Christian, he's saying this championship's not gonna be defended anymore in an open challenge. These superstars are gonna have to earn it. And here very soon we got to figure out who Rusev's going to be facing at the NXT TakeOver pay-per-view, and same with Christian. who is going to earn their way to NXT TakeOver Heatwave, the hottest weekend of the summer, with Heatwave and SummerSlam Saturday and Sunday. Who wouldn't even try to step up to Rusev, man? We saw how Rusev dealt with Noam Dar recently. He ran right through him. Noam Dar, I believe, was busted wide open at that time, and I think it was within like a minute into the matchup, but Rusev was very dominant, and we'll see how he fares tonight against Dragon Lee, and we'll see how Dragon Lee fares in the terms of getting more in-ring action, especially against one of the best in Rusev. Referee rings the bell. Here we go. Dragon Lee versus Rusev. Can Dragon Lee pick up a massive win in his young career? Or will Rusev continue to dominate the NXT roster? You know, a lot of times when people cash in those Money in the Bank briefcases, a lot of times it's going after those world champions. I'm not saying going after the United Kingdom Championship wasn't a good thing for Rusev to do, but in hindsight, Rusev keeping that championship on NXT instead of Braun Breaker taking it to Raw and NXT, I think, despite how we all feel about Rusev, I think Rusev did the right thing. He cashed in to make sure that World Championship stayed here on NXT. Off the ropes here. Uh-oh. A little bit of head scissors. Rusev in trouble, and down he goes. Rusev's going to be very careful, though, against this man. If Dragon Lee starts getting this a high-paced, fast-paced type of matchup, then Dragon Lee definitely very well could walk out with a win tonight. And I think if Dragon Lee can at least have a strong showing tonight, necessarily, yes, he wants to walk out with a win over the United Kingdom Champion, but at least have a strong showing and show this NXT universe what he can bring to the table. As Rusev just talking some major trash to these superstars, or I should say these fans, right in front of us. Gotta be very, very careful about, too much trash talk as Rusev tosses him right into the barricade. And again, Rusev just feeling himself up here. Perfect opportunity for Rusev to put away Dragon Lee, and hopefully very soon we'll figure out who Christian and Rusev will be facing at Heatwave. Rusev tossing Dragon Lee all the way to the other side of the ring there. Now we're just going to see what Rusev does. Not going to break it up. He's trying to bait Dragon Lee into the ring. And now, here we go again. Going to go with that head scissors. Down goes Rusev once more. Pinfall opportunity. Will this be enough? But a no. Strong kick out there from Rusev. But we do have a big-time night, ladies and gentlemen. We have Cesaro and Samoa Joe, two competitors that will be in the Elimination Chamber NXT Championship matchup. Those two will be in action, as well as MJF and Sting. But coming up here, as well as we got an NXT Women's debut later on tonight, is Ivy Nile of the Creed Brothers. She'll be in action as she will be taking on Sonya Deville. Miss Money in the Bank Dewdrop will be in Sonya Deville's corner. As well as coming up here tonight, we have a massive six-man tag after the big attack from Inda Sheer and the Young Bucks that were going at it last week. We are going to have ourselves a six-man tag. It is going to be Jinder Mahal and Inda Sheer taking on the Elite, Kenny Omega, Matt, and Nick Jackson. And that will be coming up here very, very shortly. As well as tonight, we hear from your NXT champion, CM Punk, addressing the Elimination Chamber match later on, coming up in just, I believe it'd be 4 weeks time actually. As Rusev setting up Dragon Lee. What's he thinking here? Trying to attack him from behind. Dragon Lee, brutal DDT spiking Rusev on his head. Rusev may be in trouble. Dragon Lee might steal one here. Oh, look at Rusev, perfect reversal. And now Rusev going to go back to what he originally planned the first time before Dragon Lee moved out of the way. Uh-oh. Looks like a reverse Alabama slam. Oh, and he's going to turn it into the Accolade. How clever is this? Plenty of damage to the ribs on this, and now you get the lower back with this Accolade. Very, very clever. And Rusev makes Dragon Lee tap out. Come on, Rusev, let it go. A massive win there for Rusev. I honestly thought Dragon Lee might be able to steal one there are times in this matchup, as we'll go back to the replay, Rusev loosening up those legs, and look at this, almost like a reverse Alabama slam, and then look at this, the accolade, perfect combination there from Rusev. I absolutely love the setup of that maneuver. And Rusev puts away Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee not having the best outcomes against Rusev and Christian, but certainly I think Dragon Lee will certainly be a player here on NXT. Who do you guys want to see step up to the plate against Rusev and Christian and go on to face them at NXT TakeOver Heatwave? Time is going to tell. Now this next matchup is going to be very, very intriguing to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. You got the team of Indus Sher with Jinder Mahal to take on the Elite. Now, you know, Kenny Omega has been having to deal with his own stuff, especially with Adam Cole and Adam Page. And for for Kenny Omega, he's certainly got to be happy that Adam Cole and Adam Page aren't in that Elimination Chamber matchup. But for Kenny Omega's got to worry about those two eventually down the road. But tonight he teams up with his good buddies, the Young Bucks, to take on Indus Sher. And last week we saw a brutal beating between Indus Sher and Young Bucks. It looks like it was instigated by Indus Sher, looking to make a name for themselves over one of the hottest signings in tag team history here on NXT, and that being the Young Bucks. And now we wait for Veer Mahan and Jinder Mahal to make their way down to the ring. Veer Mahan is coming. And, you know, from what I can see, I think Shanky, honestly, is one of those superstars that's very underrated. Yes, he's very lengthy, doesn't really have too much muscle to him, but I think he's one of those superstars that if you let him get his hands on you, it's going to be game over. It's like trying to wrestle the Great Khali. Yes, his mobility may not be the best, but when he gets his hands on you and he starts to overpower you and stuff, it's ball game. It's over. And then you have this man right here, Mr. Veer Mahan, the power, the strength that makes Indus Sher go, as well as Jinder Mahal, ladies and gentlemen, the modern day Maharaja, the man that would love to get these guys the tag team championships. But first off, he's trying to send a message to the Young Bucks that it's not going to be easy just to come here to NXT. Yes, you may have defeated the rival at that pay-per-view, the Great American Bash, but you certainly are not going to get the upper hand on us. And I think it's a great idea for these superstars and slash teams here in NXT that, you know, they're getting looked over and everything like that. With these new additions of signings and everything, you gotta definitely say that, hey, you gotta step up to the plate, you gotta make a name for yourself, and you gotta stand out. And with Jinder Mahal leading Shanky and Veer, you know, certainly that's gonna, you know, possibly help them out. Anything is possible, but Jinder Mahal, he would love to get some championship gold as well as here in NXT. And you never know what's going to look like for that North American Championship and that United Kingdom Championship. Maybe Jinder Mahal could slip in there somehow. But there are the Elite, ladies and gentlemen. Kenny Omega, Matt, and Nick Jackson. Kenny Omega, one of the big-time superstars in that NXT Championship matchup. For Kenny Omega, he defeated Adam Cole to get into the Elimination Chamber. But then that's when we saw the debut of Adam Hangman Page. The new undisputed era here in NXT with Adam Page and Adam Cole. But for tonight, Kenny Omega has to worry about Indus Sher and coming out here and supporting the Young Bucks tonight. And it looks like we got Shanky and Kenny Omega going to kick us off here. Referee rings the bell. Here we go. I think for Kenny Omega here, you gotta try to maybe up the pace of this matchup if Shanky keeps this slow and methodical, Shanky very well could end this matchup very, very quickly. And we could see, certainly what people could say an upset. As Omega with a perfect reversal. Now Omega with a big strike. But again, a devastating neckbreaker. It's one of those things with Shanky. He's like I mentioned, comparison to Great Khali. He's not going to budge until you loosen him up later on in the matchup. So if I'm Omega, attack the limbs of the body, the arms, the legs, the feet. Do something to loosen up Shanky there, and then all of a sudden you might be able to try to pick him up or Irish whip him or whatever your game plan is in this matchup. As Shanky tosses him in the corner, going to get Jinder Mahal in this matchup. Jinder Mahal has been around for a very long time, ladies and gentlemen. Raw, SmackDown, now here in NXT. What is going to be next for Jinder Mahal? He did mention about getting into the championship division, but certainly he's going to need wins, and winning this matchup certainly could help him out with the terms of climbing the rankings. I know this is a tag team matchup, but if he's able to impress Bret the Hitman Hart, our NXT general manager, that certainly could go a long ways. Look at this plancha over the top rope, takes down Jinder Mahal. Kenny Omega looking really good here tonight. In just 4 weeks' time, we could literally see Kenny Omega as your NXT champion. But if CM Punk has anything to say about that, that certainly will not happen. But the championship card for that NXT championship, certainly it's going to be unpredictable. You have a lot of superstars in this matchup that know each other quite well, that being Sting and Samoa Joe. You got MJF that has had a brief history with CM Punk. CM Punk has defeated MJF before. And then you got a man like Cesaro, a very underrated talent. I'm looking forward to that, to kind of see where that's going to go, kind of see how Cesaro of the Blackpool Combat Club will be faring. And talking about Cesaro, like we mentioned before, Cesaro will be in action tonight. Takes on Samoa Joe, the Samoan submission machine. Samoa Joe last week qualified by defeating Keith Lee in a back and forth brutal big man bout between himself and Keith Lee. And, very underrated matchup tonight certainly is MJF taking on Sting. Man, Sting, he with his age right now, imagine him surviving the Elimination Chamber and walking out the NXT champion. How crazy would that be, ladies and gentlemen? And he could be you could say, the new face of NXT. And I laugh at that just because, like I mentioned, Sting's been around this business for a very, very long time, ladies and gentlemen. He's seen it all. The rise and fall of WCW, and obviously now him being in WWE, it's even better. Sting had a WrestleMania matchup there against The Undertaker. Sting now getting traded over here to NXT, and I like the depth that gets added here, but we'll certainly see how it fares. The big knee strike there is Shanky. Shanky trying to basically kidnap Nick Jackson there. Back and forth we go. Veer Mahan, a big bear hug right now. Are we going to see a submission? But no. Breaking it up there is one of the Young Bucks. Now Veer Mahan just throwing him around like he's absolutely nothing. I believe that's Matt Jackson in the ring, pardon me. And now Veer with a brutal DDT. That is not going to be feeling good. And Veer Mahan just feeling himself up here, and I don't blame him. He's looking really good in this matchup so far. Here we go. Hot tag. Here comes Kenny Omega, the cleaner of the Elite. He might be looking to clean Veer Mahan. Down goes Veer Mahan. Pinfall. 2. Oh, that could have been a 3, but Veer Mahan certainly didn't have too much damage done to him. And now Kenny Omega has to finish the job here. Send a message to Indus Sher and anyone here on NXT that's wanting to make a name for themselves through the Elite, that they need to, bring their A game every single week. It is not going to be easy. You can do whatever you want, attacking them from behind, you know, face to face, whatever, but ultimately the Elite are going to have your number. So here we go. I'm going to go for the clothesline, but looks like Nick Jackson missed the crossbody, but certainly will be able to capitalize this. Oh, well, I thought he was. That drop kick connected, but Veer Mahan is like kicking a tree. It's not going to budge. Veer Mahan just basically no selling that move. As Shanky and Matt Jackson going at it here at ringside. Veer Mahan with a brutal DDT. Young Bucks are going to be in trouble here. This could be a type of matchup that kind of shows what is very bad in the terms of what the Young Bucks ever have to deal with when they face a bigger superstar that they're not able to just push around. There's a big spear there, turning Jinder Mahal inside out. But now Jinder Mahal with his own clothesline. Not afraid to get back in this matchup, little by little. Let's see what the modern day Maharaja has to do to continue this momentum for Indus Sher. And now, another Impaler DDT takes down Jinder. Now looks like it's time to fly. Oh, look at this beautiful 450 there to Jinder. Is that enough? 2, 3. Yes, it is. The Elite get the job done tonight over in Indus Sher, and that's what we're talking about right there. Doesn't matter what you do, the Elite ultimately get the upper hand at the end of the matchup. A beautiful 450, I believe it is, and it is enough to put away Jinder and company. Big win for the Elite as Kenny Omega gets ready for his big-time Elimination Chamber NXT Championship bout coming up here in just 4 weeks' time. And now, this is one of the bigger matches of the night, ladies and gentlemen. MJF taking on the Icon Sting. Certainly, two superstars, two different directions. MJF in the prime of his career, just getting himself going. Then you got a man like the Icon Sting that he is aiming for his retirement to be at WrestleMania weekend. We'll certainly have to wait and see how that goes, but MJF looking to be the youngest world heavyweight champion here in NXT. That's only if he's able to go through 5 other superstars at NXT TakeOver Heatwave. But the thing is, Mr. CM Punk has been NXT champion since NXT TakeOver In Your House, which was, I believe, Survivor Series weekend. That is saying something. We're getting close up to a year, ladies and gentlemen. We're literally just a couple months away. So if CM Punk can survive Heatwave and then, whatever may be coming in between, imagine if we can get to Survivor Series, CM Punk could be celebrating 1 year. Absolutely crazy. And now we wait for the Icon Sting. Certainly has had his fair share of big matches ever since he's debuted here in WWE. There on Monday Night Raw, he took on the likes of Samoa Joe, like we mentioned, but also Sting had his WrestleMania match against The Undertaker. While it was short and The Undertaker did defeat Sting, certainly Sting has not backed down from that losing bout and has looked quite well. And Sting very well. He has that wrestling prowess. He's cool, calm, and collected for the most part. And, that's what makes him so dangerous. Especially when he gets a baseball bat in his hand. Oh, my goodness. It certainly is going to get very brutal. But for Sting, he's going to be very careful with this young and up-and-coming superstar MJF in this ring. Certainly one of the best records in NXT. And just in the terms of one time he was undefeated. And that's when he was dealing with CM Punk. Bryan Danielson, if I remember correctly, is the one that ended MJF's winning streak at that time. And it would kind of lead MJF into losing a couple matches, obviously to Bryan Danielson, CM Punk. But You know, it's one of those things where you gotta move on from it and continue to learn from that. Referee rings the bell here, and for MJF here, it's all about momentum. I mean, he talked the talk, and he calls himself the next World Heavyweight Champion, but to do that, MJF is going to have to go through 5 other superstars, and through a man that he knows quite well, and that being CM Punk. MJF has already had a world title shot against CM Punk and fell up a little bit short. CM Punk is just on a different level right now, ladies and gentlemen, and it's very hard to determine who very well could be the man to step up to the plate and do that. Imagine if Sting could do that. Imagine how having this legend, the icon Sting, as your World Heavyweight Champion here in NXT. And if MJF wins, he'd be the youngest World Heavyweight Champion here in NXT's history. Time is going to tell, ladies and gentlemen. Time will tell, but it's going to be an amazing night. And like we've mentioned before to you guys, we have ourselves another matchup for the Elimination Chamber matchup, as it's going to be Cesaro and Samoa Joe coming up here very shortly, as well as Ivy Nile makes her NXT debut taking on Sonya Deville. And also, a big-time main event is coming your way. It is going to be Chris Jericho versus Tony D'Angelo after a vicious assault at the hands of Mr. Chris Jericho. Tony D'Angelo started off NXT. We were scheduled to be hearing from Tony D'Angelo, but Chris Jericho came out here and assaulted Tony D'Angelo, and everybody's got to be thinking it's got to be the comments that we heard from Tony D'Angelo last week saying, you know, he mentioned CM Punk and Chris Jericho. He mentioned that, you know, he wants it to be back to where it was, where these young and up-and-coming superstars are all, you know, fighting for a spot here in NXT instead of having all these new superstars. So we'll see where this is going to go. This could either turn out to be the best thing in Tony D'Angelo's career or the very worst thing, and it will not look too good for him. Sting trying to figure out what he wants to do to MJF here next. Look at this reverse suplex taking down Mr. MJF. MJF is in trouble. Sting is all fired up. Can the icon Sting win tonight, get some momentum heading in to that pay-per-view in just 4 weeks' time, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to see... Yes, the Scorpion Deathlock is applied. Will MJF have to tap out? He's in the middle of the ring. He's got to start crawling, or he's going to have to power through it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this at the moment, as MJF able to power through it. And a big knee strike takes down the veteran Sting. Imagine if we hear MJF winning this matchup, how we probably never hear the end of it. Just how cocky confidence Mr. MJF is. Oh, and that's uncalled for, flipping off the crowd. But now, he's going to eat a, Scorpion Death Drop. Karma is a you-know-what. And certainly Sting is going to make him pay. And will that be enough? Going to go for the pinfall, center of the ring. 1, 2. No, MJF kicks out at the very last second. And look at Sting. He cannot believe it. Sting thought he had him, and I thought he had him too. We've already seen the Scorpion Deathlock. We've seen the Scorpion finisher as well. And now, look at Sting just slowing down this match. He's just outperforming MJF. It does not matter what MJF is trying to do in this matchup. Sting is just one step ahead of him, one step at a time. As now Sting with a big old clothesline. What is the Stinger have in store here? This old man's still flying around. Oh my goodness. Flying over the top rope. The Stinger showing you guys that he still has it. He can still run with the youngest of superstars out there. And look at Sting. He realizes he doesn't even need to do. Wait. Oh my goodness. What in the heck has got into Stinger? He is pulling out all the stops tonight. He is sending a direct message to MJF. And you could certainly say he's like showing up MJF. MJF could not figure out Sting tonight. Holy cow. MJF is in trouble. Sting pulling all the stops out tonight. Submissions, anything you name it. It's a brutal backbreaker. Man, MJF is just struggling, ladies and gentlemen. Big chops. But now MJF trying to fight back. He needs to do it now, if he has any chance of winning this matchup. Or maybe he's been toying with Sting as, oh, come on, ref, stop him now. This is a blatant chokehold right there. That's MJF for you, and certainly he needs to do anything at this point to put away Stinger. Not taunting the crowd certainly won't necessarily help you put away Sting, but it is what it is, I suppose. As now MJF, nice snap suplex, slowly getting himself in this matchup. Certainly, I think he's taken way too long to get himself back in this match. Sting has literally hit every name in the book. He's even going off the top rope, hitting planches, you name it. He is doing it as a strong kick out there from Sting. And that's that pure adrenaline that Sting brings to the table, ladies and gentlemen. Big forearm strike. Here comes the Stinger. And this is not where MJF wants to be. Doesn't like that corner. MJF. Oh, look at this, Sting. There's a lot of stuff I've not seen Sting do in forever. And Sting, he's one-upping MJF one step at a time. And now Sting stepping through, flipping him over, Scorpion, Deathlock. He has it. Will MJF have to tap? MJF has eaten everything in this matchup and somehow survived. He has nowhere to go. He's got to power out of this or tap out. And now MJF able to grab Sting. And now we are at a stalemate. Both men performing at their best. Definitely Sting bringing his A game tonight. Oh, big punch there from Sting. And Sting gonna end it right there. Scorpion. Death drop. Is that enough? 2. Yes, it is. Sting with a massive win tonight over MJF. And now look at Sting beating down MJF after the matchup. Very surprising to see from Sting. And, you know, MJF always talks that trash, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Sting pulling out the table. He wants to inflict some mad damage to MJF. This is absolutely crazy. Sting is going crazy, ladies and gentlemen. He wants to inflict damage to MJF and send a message. Sting is whipping MJF's ass right now. And he definitely deserves it. Right through the table. Down goes MJF. That is what you like to see, ladies and gentlemen. You have a superstar like MJF who's climbing up the company. He's a main event talent here. And then you got a legend like Sting showing up. MJF tonight. MJF just could not figure out the Sting. Sting literally showing you what he can bring to the table. It's only one last run. Could Sting be your new NXT champion at the NXT TakeOver Heatwave pay-per-view? I mean, with what we saw tonight, this man literally, he's hitting planches, he's doing suicide dives. It doesn't matter. This is a fired up Sting, and you absolutely gotta love it. Now, what we saw after the match is an even more crazier Sting, and I don't think this NXT roster wants a crazy Sting. Well, it'll be very interesting to see where this goes. But coming up right now, we got Cesaro taking on Samoa Joe. These guys do have a history together, that being in our lovely SmackDown roster. I mean, they even had it there on Monday Night Raw as well. So these guys have wrestled each other plenty of times. We'll see how Cesaro fares tonight. And you got Wardlow, who had an opportunity to qualify for that Elimination Chamber matchup. Had one heck of a match with MJF. MJF was able to outlast him, but certainly very curious to see how this is going to fare, ladies and gentlemen. Cesaro, you know, he has plenty of submissions, and so does Samoa Joe, the Samoan submission machine. He is looking to make Cesaro tap out and look to make a name for himself. This man has held anything from the WWE Championship, the Universal Championship, the Intercontinental Championship. And Samoa Joe would love to add the NXT Championship to his reign of many championships here in this series. And Samoa Joe very well could do it. Obviously, every superstar has 1 in 6 chance to win this matchup. And I mean, certainly Samoa Joe, this is the type of environment he can literally take off in. He's one of those superstars. He can dish it out, but he can take it as well. So I think the Elimination Chamber certainly will favor Samoa Joe. And after what we saw, it certainly could be Sting. We've already seen a little bit of a rivalry between Sting and Samoa Joe, where Sting got the upper hand on Joe. Referee rings the bell. Here we go. Cesaro and Samoa Joe. Hard-hitting matchup for sure, and very well could end in a submission. So Cesaro pulling out the big-time powerbomb here early. And that's what you got to do against a man like Samoa Joe. You got to hit them powerful maneuvers, man. You got to hit those likes of a powerbomb, gut-wrench suplexes, anything you can think of. Because once he gets his hands on you and he starts throwing you around a little bit, it's going to be game over. For some reason, Samoa Joe could not figure out Sting to save his life. So, and certainly Samoa Joe will be looking to get his hands on Sting and maybe put him in the hospital permanently in that Elimination Chamber. NXT TakeOver Heatwave, ladies and gentlemen, is coming up very quickly. We've already got some matches announced for that lovely pay-per-view, as we got Roxanne and Cora Jade, former Women's Tag Team Champions, former friends, now bitter enemies, go at it for one last time for the NXT Women's Championship. As well as we already know about the main event, that being the Elimination Chamber NXT Championship matchup. That's going to be an awesome matchup. As well as we continue to build, we'll have to wait and see what the other championships will be looking like. I'm being told right now from the office of Bret the Hitman Hart, we'll be figuring out who the NXT North American Champion Christian challenger will be next week, as well as the NXT United Kingdom Champions challenger Rusev. We'll see who his challenger will be. We'll get some more information building up to the week, but from right now, Bret Hart is saying that we'll find out a lot of our contenders next week here on NXT as we build up to a Heatwave pay-per-view, which is going to be certainly one of the best, if not the best, in a very long time, as Cesaro gets hit with a back body drop. Cesaro busted wide open, and so is Samoa Joe. I knew this match was going to be very brutal, ladies and gentlemen. Look at Joe. He's fired up. This is not what you want, but now Cesaro, he's taunting. And now both of these men, they're looking to beat the living crap out of each other in this very moment. Uh-oh. Cesaro. Uh-oh. Ooh, sit out powerbomb there for a minute. I was thinking he might try to powerbomb him on the apron. See, with everything heating up, these superstars are stepping up to the plate. They're stepping up their game. They're bringing all sorts of new maneuvers. We saw that with Sting last match against MJF. It's a rare loss from MJF. It was a good win for Sting. A great win. But he's going to have to dig down deep again and do the exact same thing coming up at the NXT TakeOver pay-per-view. Both men need to get back in the ring. We are at an 8. Could be moments away from a possible countout. But Cesaro doing the right thing, rolling out of the ring, and just like that, restarting the count. Big kick to the midsection. Here comes Samoa Joe. At least I thought it was, but now Cesaro tossing him down to the other ring. Coming up later on tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Pretty Deadly. One of the newest NXT tag teams are in action against the current NXT Tag Team Champions, the Blackpool Combat Club's Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. Cannot wait to see how that fares. Pretty Deadly named a lot of tag teams saying that they're better than. That's going to have to beat one of the best tag teams here in NXT. Cannot wait to see how that's going to fare. As look at Samoa Joe, little stealing of Cesaro's taunt. Samoa Joe feeling himself up here. Don't want to get too cocky, but Samoa Joe loves playing mind games. It gets in the head of his opponents. Ooh, big stinger splash there, right on that open cut, right there on the left eye, and he's going to target it again. Might as well just bust it open at this point. As, oh no, oh my goodness. That running boot right to the cut, that he is just dripping. My God, man. Samoa Joe, a different animal at this very moment. No, wait a minute, Cesaro. Cesaro looking at a steel victory here, neutralizing Samoa Joe. And possibly picking up another big win. Cesaro. No, Joe kicks out. This has been a bloody massacre. Cesaro busted wide open all over his face. Joe's busted open as well. And this crowd saying fight forever certainly would be a great thing to see. These guys are going to war. And now Samoa Joe. The Coquita clutch is applied. Referee right there. Can Cesaro dig down deep here? Can he help him out? Cesaro has nowhere to go. He's going to have to try to slip out of this. Somehow power out of it if he can. Oh. Big elbows right to that open cut there. And now we are at a 50-50 ball game here. Who can dig down deep and put away their opponent? Big time opportunity. Oh, it's time to go for a swing, Samoa. Samoa Joe in a bad way. We have not seen Cesaro pull out the Cesaro swing in ages. Perfect opportunity. This is what I'm talking about. All these superstars are pulling out everything from their repertoire, and it gets Cesaro his win. Cesaro picking up a win tonight over Samoa Joe, and recently picking up a win of the NXT debut of Adam Page. Cesaro, one of the most underrated superstars in that match, ladies and gentlemen. And this could be very crucial. He could get his first ever singles championship in the series if he's able to win at NXT TakeOver. Wardlow being right there for his partner. Both men part of the Blackpool Combat Club, but big win for Cesaro. Can he do this at NXT TakeOver? Heatwave. Blackpool Combat Club making their way down to the ring, ladies and gentlemen. That's, oh no, pretty deadly, taking down the NXT Tag Team Champions, sending a message to them here live. This is the beginning of their matchup here. They are not playing around. Pretty Deadly looking to make a name for themselves, and you're facing the best tag team in NXT. And I'm just saying that because they are the NXT Tag Team Champions. An all-out brawl is here. Pretty Deadly, they're coming out here making a statement, attacking the champions, which is probably not the best idea, but certainly you got to do what you got to do to make a name for yourself, bad or good. You got Jon Moxley. He's had plenty of tag team championship reigns in his career. Former United States champion, former Intercontinental champion. And certainly Moxley would love to have a World Heavyweight Championship in his future. As a little bit of an axe handle, takes down Moxley, and just like that, referee rings the bell. Let's see if that attack will help out Pretty Deadly or not. Now this is where we see that very dangerous Jon Moxley, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of those things where you don't want to piss off Jon Moxley. It's the very last thing you would ever want. So you got Mr. Elton Prince just eating this up right now. And you guys are new, ladies and gentlemen, to the series. You're going to see these lovely superstars. A little back and forth. Oh, look at this submission hold, ladies and gentlemen. This is just absolutely brutal. Absolutely crazy. It's like, oh, he's just stretching him out. Again, just stretching it. It's just one of those things, ladies and gentlemen. You do not want to get stretched out too much as a big knee to the midsection. Ooh, vicious neck breaker, man. And now Moxley just slowly going to dissect him. Why not? Got everything in his repertoire to do it. So you got Elton Prince in the middle of the ring, ladies and gentlemen, and Kit Wilson getting his butt kicked at ringside, it sounds like. As now Moxley just going to systematically take down Mr. Kit Wilson. Or Elton Prince, I should say. Oh, springboard flying forearm. Pretty deadly. May rue the day that they came out here and attacked Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson as just over the top rope. And oh, look at this. Oh my goodness, Kit Wilson going to work on Bryan Danielson. Why not? I mean, this is going to send a message. Bryan is a former WWE champion in his own right, ladies and gentlemen. Why not as a big boot? Turning Moxley inside out. Is that enough? 1, 2. Oh, 2.9. And then a drop kick. And oh, gonna go back to Bryan here. Oh my goodness. Are you seeing these forearms? To the back of the neck is back up to the top rope. Takes him down with the axe handle. This match has broken down, ladies and gentlemen. We are not even getting proper tags. This match is just... These guys are beating the living crap out of each other. Feels like a tornado tag team matchup, honestly. As, oh no, the pretty deadly face there. Busted open. He's going to need stitches like that, and that's going to ruin his pretty face. That is a shame to take too much damage like that. Elton Prince is in a bad way. There's Kit Wilson finally on the rope, and it looks like we're finally going to maybe actually get a tag team matchup here. Moxley trying to figure out what he wants to do here. Does he want to try and put him away? Uh-oh. Looking for the... Ooh, dirty deeds. The dirty deeds. Will that be enough? But no. Able to break it up is Kit Wilson. And look at Jon Moxley. He's pissed. He wants to end this matchup and send a message here. Oh no, this ain't good. Moxley's unhinged here. This is Jon Moxley with a brutal back suplex. And now this just gets Elton Prince out here. Just basically baiting him outside here to go to work. And look, yeah, Moxley just eating this up. This is perfect for Jon Moxley here. Kit Wilson and Elton Prince, man. This is just absolutely brutal what we're witnessing. And Moxley going to town on that face, that broken face right now. Moxley wants some more. Wants some more of the yes boy himself. Oh no, not again. Oh, but this time able to take down Moxley. But Moxley thinking about getting Bryan Danielson his first ring action. Yes, he does. Here comes the former WWE champion, Bryan Danielson, but he misses. Those forearms that he took earlier at ringside by Kit Wilson, I mean, those were brutal. Those are the back of the head. And we certainly know Bryan has certainly had his fair share of injuries over the years. As, oh, look at this. Big gut buster there. Brutal maneuver. And Bryan going to do the right thing. Roll out of the ring. Well, I guess maybe not. From behind. Going to go for a big old back suplex. Why not? A little bit more damage to help out his pretty deadly teammate. As far as the referee is allowing that. Let's back up to the top. Second rope. Oh, I guess why not? Kit Wilson just going to eat this up right now. Pretty deadly back inside the ring. And now we'll see if they can put away Bryan Danielson. Is a little bit of a, I don't even know, a bear hug. Spine buster. Could that be enough? No, Moxley right there to break it up. Kit Wilson not going to believe it. Oh, yes, boy. And now he's going to talk some trash. Going to tell him he's going to end him right here, right now. Brutal forearm strike there. And these guys are just eating them up. And now Bryan trying to get the crowd behind him, getting that yes chant going. Certainly that is not what the yes boys want right now. They do not want a fired up crowd trying to get the Blackpool Combat Club right back in this matchup. This has been a pretty good tag team match. You got the drama, the high stakes so far in this matchup. Brutal knee strike there from Bryan. We still have plenty more still to come. We have Ivy Niles' debut against Sonya Deville, as well as in the main event, Chris Jericho, first ballot Hall of Famer Chris Jericho. He'll be in action. This will be taking on Tony D'Angelo, as both men need to start getting back in the ring here. Referee at an 8. Both men back in the ring. big time tag. Here comes Elton Prince. And now big time uppercut. No, but once you think you figure out Bryan, you're just not able to. But, oh, there you go. It's just one of those things, is right place, right time. What does Elton Prince need to do? I don't think pandering to the crowd or making fun of them will certainly do that deed for you. As now they're unhinged. Jon Moxley back in. Just going to connect with a front handle slam there. And look at Moxley. This is just, he's just eating this up. This is just favoring Moxley's suicide dive. Busting up that face even more. What a tag team matchup, ladies and gentlemen. We still got to figure out who Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson will be defending their tag team championships up against. Could it be pretty deadly? Young Bucks are dealing with Indus Sheer at the moment. You know, does the Revival somehow find a way into the tag team division? I mean, the Creed brothers more than likely won't get another opportunity at this point. So it's one of those things where you got to kind of figure out, is that was a devastating lariat. That turned Moxley inside out. And look at this. Oh, beautiful counter from Moxley. I don't know what exactly Kit Wilson was thinking with that maneuver, but that certainly was going to be a devastator. As a Dirty Deeds maneuver there, taking down Mr. Kit Wilson, but look right there, his yes boy right there to help him out. Look at Bryan at ringside. He's feeling it right now. He's out of. He probably doesn't even know where the heck he's at this very moment. And that is not good for Moxley, because he might need to get a tag here soon. Oh no, this ain't good. Oh my goodness, right there, that quad. That might be a key changing point in this matchup, ladies and gentlemen, as a sit-out powerbomb. Oh, this is what we saw to Bryan Danielson earlier. Brutal forearms to the back of the neck, ladies and gentlemen. That certainly could be a game-over moment, as now here comes Elton Prince, going to get the final touches on this matchup. Elton Prince, oh my goodness. Turning Moxley inside out. Is this it? Pinfall. 1, 2, 3. And pretty deadly. Picks up a massive win. And my question is, why didn't Bryan Danielson come back in the ring and help him out? As you continue to see the ending moments of this matchup. Look at this devastating boot. And you'll watch Bryan. I don't think he knows where he's at, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. You're going to see the 3 count, and Bryan is just not there to do anything for his partner. You might need to get some medical attention on Bryan Danielson, ladies and gentlemen. Big win, though, for Pretty Deadly. After a vicious assault to begin the matchup. But we got a NXT debut coming your way next. Let us see how Ivy Nile in her NXT debut will fare against Miss Sonya Deville. And you got Dewdrop Company and Miss Sonya Deville down in the ring. Dewdrop is the nickname for Piper Niven here in NXT, and would love to get rid of that nickname as soon as she can, but that is not the point. But Dewdrop, she is Miss Money in the Bank here for NXT. We'll never know when she decides to cash in. She'll have up to obviously the NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver pay-per-view, which is WrestleMania weekend. That's plenty of time, but Sonya Deville is not going to let these up-and-coming superstars run through her. This is her show, her words, but we'll see how Sonya Deville fares tonight. And certainly, you want to climb up the rankings. This is a perfect time right now, because you're going to get the final matchup between Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship coming up at the NXT TakeOver Heatwave pay-per-view. So, if this is the best time to showcase your skills and say, hey, I'm next in line for that championship, this is the opportunity. As you got Brutus on your left, Julius on the right, escorting Ivy Nile down to the ring. We've heard a lot of good things about Ivy Nile, and since we finally got an Ivy Nile, the Creed brothers have officially gone from the Creed brothers name to the Diamond Mine. And we all do remember Diamond Mine was owned by Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, but I'm being told Diamond Mine is officially gone to these brothers here. Referee rings the bell here. Big time debut for Ivy Nile. We have to dig down deep against Sonya Deville, who has been in this game for a very long time. She's been around for 4 or 5 plus years. She's seen a lot of women come and go. She's been on multiple rosters, Raw, SmackDown, you name it. But being back down here in NXT for a good couple months, and you know, she's won championship gold with Doudrop. Doudrop's even missed Money in the Bank, you know. Slowly but surely, Sonya Deville may very well get herself an NXT Women's Championship, changing her career. And it's one of those things where you're not going to always win gold right away when you come to WWE. It's one of those things where you might have to develop yourself. You got to build yourself. Rome wasn't built in a day. You got to continue to grind. As Ivy Nile just trying to roll out of the ring as much as she can there. But Sonya's not going to let her take a break whatsoever. She's going to stay on her. And that's what that veteran status of Sonya Deville brings to the table. And Doudrop definitely seeing it there at ringside. Be very curious to see how this team of Deville and Doudrop will fare. Nice block there from Ivy Nile. You do not want to take too many of those kicks. Oh my God. What a clothesline from Ivy Nile. Is this match over? Referee right there in position 2. Oh my goodness. I was surprised Sonya was able to kick out. That clothesline, oh my goodness. That literally brutal. That probably could have busted her collarbone or something, honestly. Here we go off the ropes. Ivy Nile with a nice cross body. Beautiful maneuver there from Ivy. She's all fired up, even talking a little bit of trash to Sonya. This is what Ivy Nile needs to do. Stay on Miss Sonya Deville here. I definitely believe Ivy Nile's certainly learning a lot from Julius and Creed here. Formerly of the Creed brothers, now this trio is known as the Diamond Mine. Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, giving them the rights to that, since Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly are no longer here in WWE at the moment. Doesn't mean they won't ever come back here to WWE, but at this very moment they are not. There's a nice stunner. It takes down Deville at ringside. Now this is where Ivy, looks like she's going to be aggressive. It's one of those things where you got to decide if you want to get baited into ringside here. Oh, Ivy Nile showing her striking game as well. I feel like maybe Ivy Nile might be the only superstar that you'd want to, or if I'm only Ivy Nile, she'd be kind of the only superstar to get in a striking game with Sonya Deville and be okay with it type of thing. This big, strong suplex there from Ivy. Ivy Nile's still doing pretty good here. Late ball game here as we edge closer to our main event later on tonight. Chris Jericho taking on Tony D'Angelo. Chris Jericho, the student of the game, and we've all heard what happened earlier tonight. We saw it, and I don't think Tony D'Angelo is going to be 100%. Hopefully he will be, but it's going to be one of those things, man. It's going to be absolutely brutal. I don't expect that match to go long. I expect Jericho to probably run right through Tony D'Angelo, unfortunately. That's, a little bit of a triangle choke here. Will Ivy Nile have to tap out center of the ring? Nowhere to go. Might be time for Ivy to tap out. This is where she has to dig down deep, and those big haymakers. That left punch there stuns Sonya Deville as both women trying to figure out what they need to do next. Oh, okay. Take off the quads. Good idea. Beautiful maneuver there from Ivy. She is eating up this crowd right now. Big time showcasing event for Ivy Nile. Pinfall, but just a 1. As we have a lot of new women lately, especially Ivy Nile. You got Tiffany Stratton. She's trying to make a name for herself. Wendy Chu. She recently just faced off with Cora Jade and lost. But, you know, there's some newest additions here to this NXT roster as Sonya Deville puts away Ivy Nile. And it's all due to the help of Doudrop. It is not what Ivy Nile was expecting tonight, but Sonya Deville gets the help of Doudrop tonight. And Deville showcasing our skills once again. A much needed win for Sonya. She wants to be taken seriously as a true threat for that NXT Women's Championship, and with that win tonight, that certainly helps her case. This matchup very well could be very one-sided. You got a man that Chris Jericho, a man that's very frustrated that he's not in that NXT Championship matchup at the NXT TakeOver Heatwave pay-per-view. He heard what Tony D'Angelo said last week, and well, it seems like he has attacked Tony D'Angelo. We saw it earlier to begin NXT. My question is this even a fair fight? Chris Jericho, you can just see it on his face, man. He's just eating this up. He knows Tony D'Angelo's not going to be 100%. Tony can say whatever he wants, but Chris Jericho is ready to run roughshod right through Tony D'Angelo. Certainly interesting to see how this is going to go. This is your main event of the evening, though, ladies and gentlemen, and we still are going to be hearing from CM Punk addressing the NXT Championship Elimination Chamber matchup at NXT TakeOver Heatwave. I cannot wait to see how Punk reacts to having to defend that. He's run through perceivably most of this roster, but he's going to have to deal with five men, pardon me, and that happens to be the likes of MJF, Sting, Cesaro, Samoa Joe, and, drumroll please, Kenny Omega. As there is the Don of NXT, ladies and gentlemen, Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo, his purpose and his main reasoning for calling out these big-time veterans, the likes of CM Punk, the likes of Chris Jericho, and all these big-name superstars is he believes they are taking away the limelight of a lot of these newer superstars that are coming from the PC, that are, working their asses off. And then you got the likes of, from his words, CM Punk, Chris Jericho. You're having all these veterans coming back and signing back to this NXT roster, and he doesn't like that. And he wants it to go back to what it was, the NXT, the homegrown talent. But, we're going to have to wait and see if this is going to go anywhere for Tony D'Angelo. He's got that grin on his face. It looks like he's ready, but is he actually ready though? This will be the first match for Tony D'Angelo in a good couple months, if not a little bit longer. So we'll see if there's any ring rust whatsoever. And now Jericho. Oh, big elbow to the temple. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there is some stuff on the forehead there of Tony D'Angelo. Hopefully it doesn't get busted wide open again. It's very light. I don't think you can really see it from your guys' view, but there is some stuff on his face to kind of help out with bleeding and kind of stop it, kind of like what you see in the UFC. It's now Jericho. Ooh, dropping him right on that metal rope. That very well could be it. I mean, he ate a lot of damage earlier tonight. Oh, strong kick out, 2.5. Tony D'Angelo needed all of that kick out to be saved in this matchup. And we'll see. This is going to be a big point for Tony D'Angelo. This is literally his biggest match of his career. You're going to be in a ring with a first ballot Hall of Famer, a man like Chris Jericho that has traveled the world, has done it all, his ups, his downs, his triumphs, his failures. He has done it all. And look at Jericho. He's eating this up, but Tony D, it's taking his own time to get the crowd behind him. Jericho doesn't seem like he's taking this too seriously, though, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you hate to see. Oh, Jericho gets hit with a brutal clothesline, and Tony D eating all of this up right now. And for a man that's not taking this matchup too seriously, Jericho might want to rethink that. As Jericho's, I was going to say, he's kind of baiting him to come out to the ring. But now Tony D'Angelo, the Don of NXT, looking to beat the Don out of Chris Jericho. Jericho might start swimming with the fishes after this. It's a brutal axe handle type of maneuver, or kind of bare arm forearm on the back as he throws him right in that LED post. Uh-oh. Tony D, this ain't good. Jericho trying to fight out of it, and he's able to. And look at Tony D looking absolutely good, outsmarting Chris Jericho there. The longer this matchup goes, you got to think that Chris Jericho might have this match slipping through his hands as he gets dropped right on his head. Chris Jericho just eating this up at the moment, misses the clothesline. Let's see what Tony D can do. So we toss him halfway across the ring. Like I mentioned, biggest match of Tony D'Angelo's career. He has to step up. He has to take it to Chris Jericho. He's got to deal with the pain in this matchup. And trying to roll out the way, that's his best idea to do in these matches. Oh my goodness. Folded him like an accordion. This matchup may not go any longer, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Tony D'Angelo's twisting that knee. Every time Jericho hits a maneuver, ladies and gentlemen, it's just, you just don't know how much pain is left. And how much pain can Tony D'Angelo take in these moments. As a code breaker there. That very well could be all she wrote. And a strong kick out, 2.9. And Jericho cannot believe it, man. He's not able to drink it in. And now Tony D, he's trying to figure out what he needs to do, but he needs to figure out something fast. And rolling out of the ring will certainly do that. Jericho getting baited out here. And this is what Tony needs. Beat down Jericho at ringside. Put him away. Maybe hit a powerful maneuver before you throw him back in the ring. And, you know, you hit your big time maneuver to put him away. Show Chris Jericho who's boss. Show him why you're the Don of NXT. The Don wants major changes to NXT, and he very well could get that. And he's coming right after the top players in this NXT roster, the likes of a Chris Jericho, CM Punk, anyone that is not a NXT original. And I think when Tony D'Angelo says it, it's just he's sick of these free agents. So all these free agent signings that Bret the Hitman Hart has done, Tony D'Angelo would prefer having these superstars be grown through the Performance Center and have them step up to the plate type of thing. A little bit of mind games between both superstars. Jericho might get the last laugh here at this moment. Oh, nice standing drop kick. Takes down Tony D'Angelo. Uh-oh. I thought maybe for a minute we might see the walls, but Jericho going to certainly loosen up Tony D'Angelo even more. This matchup has gone a lot longer than I expected, ladies and gentlemen, with just how dangerous Jericho has been. And oh no, the walls of Jericho are in center of the ring. Tony D'Angelo has just been hurt by Jericho to begin NXT, and this very well could end NXT with Jericho making Tony D'Angelo tap out. As a little bit of a corkscrew, head scissors, whatever you want to call it, out of it. And now D'Angelo has him in the corner. Oh, there you go, big clothesline. Let's see what Tony D can do here. Starting to fire himself up here. But just like that, Jericho rolling out of the way. Was that a good idea? Off the ropes we go. Big time clothesline misses out there from Tony, but Tony D from behind, turning him inside out. What a maneuver from Tony D'Angelo. Big upset. Yes, it is. Tony D'Angelo with a massive win. The biggest win of his young career. Sends a message to Chris Jericho. What a match. Tony D'Angelo stepping up to the plate. And that is one step at a time. First step of his master plan to get NXT back in the way that he feels fit. What a match. But now we have to wait and hear from CM Punk. Here comes your NXT champion, ladies and gentlemen, CM Punk. This man is going to be addressing this NXT Championship defense. There's all sorts of matches he's won, singles, it does not matter, but this time he's going to have to defend against 5 other men. Samoa Joe, Cesaro, MJF, Sting, and Kenny Omega. So for CM Punk, he's going to have to figure out a game plan to somehow, some way, dig down deep and walk out still champion. If he's able to walk out champion, I don't know who's going to be able to defeat CM Punk, because he's itching closer and closer to when he won the NXT Championship. That was at NXT TakeOver in Your House, which was around Survivor Series time. CM Punk seems like he's in a great mood, but will he be in a better mood when we hear from him in just mere moments? Let's go ahead and find out. I'm not gonna lie, that was quite embarrassing what we just saw. Chris Jericho, a man that beat down Tony D'Angelo, and for Tony D, he wasn't gonna be 100%, but somehow he defeats Chris Jericho. That shows you why Chris Jericho is certainly not the best in the world, and while he'll never be NXT champion. But I do have one thing to say about Tony. Tony, you think you just recently came back and you just want all these NXT originals to come back and take over NXT. Well, if you do that, you're barely going to have a roster whatsoever. These newer guys that we signed to free agency and everything like that has made NXT better. And it's probably something hard for you to admit. And you know what? I do need a tune-up matchup for next week. So, you know what, Tony? Let's get it over and done with. I'm going to put you to sleep, hit you with the GTS, and it's going to be game over, and you'll be the one sleeping with the fishes. But now, I'm going to address something more serious, and it's this NXT Championship at Heatwave. Now, as much as I hate having to defend this match, this NXT Championship in a Elimination Chamber match, it is certainly going to make me even better than every single one of you. I'm already the best in the world. Imagine what it's going to look like once I win and walk out still your NXT champion by defeating 5 other guys. Now, there's some challengers in this matchup I'm really looking forward to. The likes of Cesaro, very underrated superstar, man that has everything in his repertoire to become world champion, but it's just not going to be his night. MJF I've already defeated, no worries there. Me and Samoa Joe, we have a history, but he sure is not walking out with the world championship. Sting, he's past his prime. That sure as hell not happening either. But now, the last superstar I haven't addressed out of the lovely 5 is Kenny Omega, the cleaner. What's he gonna do? Clean my room? He sure is not. Hell's not gonna hurt me. I'm not afraid of no Kenny Omega. Yeah, he's done everything on the independent scene he can, every world championship, but certainly this NXT championship is not going in his list of accomplishments. Kenny, I will gladly say it to your face anytime, anywhere, in this ring, in the backstage area, in Bret the Hitman's Hart's office. I do not give a damn. You are not better than us, not better than me, and you better be getting used to being disappointed, because at the end of Heatwave, you guys will hear still NXT champion, the best in the world, CM